You will need some copying paper just to burnish if you need to burnish. So keep a piece of copying paper around. You can cook on it as well. Okay, so what I have today and what were in our materials, there are suggestions and then there's things that you kind of need. The first thing being you need an umbrella cutter. Now you can use your circle or you can use an actual umbrella shaped cutter. Create these umbrella cutters because I got tired of trying to make these little cuts perfectly around. Now the first time I made one without a cutter, I didn't do half bad, but then every time I tried to replicate it, it was just it was really tough to do without the cutter. So I just I said, hey, we need to make this cutter and make it easy for everybody so nobody has any problems. So it comes in two sizes, a large size, which I believe is 3-inch, and this is a 1-inch cutter. As you can see, it's basically around the same size at the tips as this circle cutter. So you can use a circle cutter and you can use the circle cutter to cut out your holes, or you're not your holes, but your little spines here. But this just makes it easier. So the next thing that you're going to want that makes it incredibly much easier than trying to find two things to match at home. You might have two marbles at home, or you might have two small domed type things to bake on, but this is the best thing to bake on right here. Now I have cut mine up because my full sheet of cookie, or not cookie, these aren't cookie sheets, of my silicone chocolate mold sheets, a full sheet doesn't fit in my New Wave oven. So I decided to cut them, and sometimes I just want to do a couple earrings along with another few items that I'm doing. Sometimes I want to do 6. Sometimes I want to do them all, and then I can just stack them on top of each other in my oven and still get them all cooked. So this is the 1.5-inch chocolate mold. You can use the 1-inch if you like. I personally have not used the 1-inch or the small chocolate mold. These are, I believe, the medium ones. I just prefer this size because of the shape that it makes. The umbrella is just perfect for me. But experiment when you buy your silicone chocolate molds. Just make sure that you either get the small or the medium, or if you buy that set, which I posted earlier a few days ago, you can get all the sets and then just use some in your kitchen and the rest in your workroom. And then, of course, the next thing you're going to need is your clay. And I'm going to be working with I believe this looks like, yes, this is Cernet Translucent. And the reason I'm going to be working with this today is just because I want to see how this turns out. I'm going to make this extra thin and add a silk screen over the top of this. And I want to see if this really comes out looking like, those umbrellas that are kind of see-through, so you can kind of see the rain come through. So I'm going to use that and see what I come up with. Another color that I'm going to be using is this right here. This is just a blend of neon purple. This is Fimo. So this is neon blue and neon purple Fimo. And this is Cernet. And then, of course, you can use Primo. You can use whatever clay that you have. I just happen to have a lot of this around that I just kind of want to use right now. That's out of the package. So I'm just going to use what's out of the package. There are different things that you can use to decorate your umbrellas. The first being, of course, you can just paint them. Now, if you decide to just paint them, you can just use your paintbrush, cut it out, put it in your mold, cook it, and then you can use a paintbrush to paint it. Or you can, you can silk screen it before. I just got these in today. I've been wanting these forever, and they're from, I believe, Miyoko Screens. Yes, Miyoko. But I just literally received these today from Poland, and so I'm going to use my little butterfly silk screen on my umbrellas, and because I love butterflies. Another thing that you can use are stamps. I like these stamps from Create Along. They're really good quality, and they have a lot of detail in a small space. So, when you're making an umbrella, you want to think about what you're going to put on it. Now, I'm going to show you kind of a mistake that you don't want to do. You don't want to do too much to where you can't see what you're doing. This is a butterfly surrounded by roses. Now, it's still cute, and I could probably really make a cute umbrella out of it, but there's just so much going on here that it's not going to work out quite the way you want. I could probably use some alcohol inks and fill in my roses, or some alcohol ink pens and color these roses in. And then I might be able to see my butterfly a little bit more, or I could color in the butterfly, vice versa. But either way, what you're doing with your umbrella is when you're creating a design, you want the design to be cohesive. So I was just playing around, and it ended up being the wrong thing. I was wondering what it would look like if I put a little butterfly wing on, but you only see the butterfly wing if you're at the top of the umbrella. And what you want is something that you can see on the umbrella all the way around that is cohesive to the entire look, whereas this little spot right here just kind of doesn't blend together as well. So let's see, let me show you a better example of cohesion. See, the roses are all the way around and in the middle, and the roses are all around, and then I have the butterfly stretching up from the side to the middle. So like there's a lot more symmetry going on here than here. So what you're looking for with your umbrella is a symmetry. I guess I found the word I was looking for eventually talking. You can also use, I just put this in the bag and it's stuck to the bag. It's a little warm. You can also use these right here. This is a reverse stamp. And what you do is you fill up these little butterflies with clay. And then you take that and you put it on top of another piece of clay. And then you put it over the clay and you slowly peel it back, revealing all the butterflies that are raised up from this stamp. So, this one, I don't know. I think this one might take a little bit too much time to really play around with this one today. So I'm going to play with this stamp today instead. All right. Another thing that you will find very useful are your pinheads here. Now, you can use these cute ones. These are a little bent with the little ball at the end, or you can use them with the flat one on the bottom, or you can use them with the little hook at the bottom. Now, if you leave space for a little hook at the bottom, you can hang little danglies from it. So there's two ways that you can make your umbrella. There's one whole, the fastest way is literally this way, which is it's one long pinhead, which these are 4-inch pinheads that I found actually at a jewelry store. It's called the Rock Barrel. It's kind of one of, it's like a candy land for artists who love crystals and gems and beads, and you know, it's just a very dangerous place to go if you don't have money at the time. Shoot, it's a dangerous place to go if you do have money. But anyway, if you can get a hold of yourself some 3-inch, these are 4-inch. You really don't need 4 inches of pinhead. It's just that I happen to have these 4-inch and I don't have any 3-inch pinheads, but you can use the regular pinheads that sell at Walmart and Hobby Lobby and all that. Michael's. See, there's these with the little holes in it. And that's what I'm talking about, that you can hang these little danglies from. Or you can do the one with a little ball, and that can be just a regular little ball at the bottom. So I'm going to use these 4-inch ones just because, and you know, these are really kind of not the greatest pinheads, so I don't use these for many things, but they'll actually work perfectly for the earrings. Okay, so what I was saying is there's two ways to make these. And if you have one pinhead, you can make this go through all the way through the umbrella, make your loop, and directly connect your earring finding, which I use the French hook earrings. Or you can do it two ways. You can, let's see here. You get this little loop right here, and you bring it through your umbrella. You add a little bead, and then you make your loop. And when you do that, that means that this bottom piece, this piece that you connect to this will swivel and move around. And it's very, very free flowing and very pretty, as you can see. Whereas this piece is not as free flowing. As you can see, it's, you know, it's only going to move when it's hanging on your ear, which for me, one and done is really nice. It takes a little bit of time and a little bit of finagling to get this right here the way you want it. And it can be frustrating. So I'm going to show you guys this way. Since this is the way I showed you last time, I'm going to show you guys this way this time. So let's get started. Oh, also beads. If you guys have any beads that go with the colors of you might need some 2mm. I'm not going to spill this again. 2mm seed beads are what I'm going to be using for my umbrella handle. I do apologize. My mouth does not want to work today. All right, so I'm going to put these off to the side. This is really kind of a simple tutorial, and I think you guys are going to really like this. Now, I need to blend this, and I need to bring this out, and I'm going to bring these to a thickness. Now, depending on your pasta machine. Now, I know some of our pasta machines are drama queens, and they get to about 5 thickness, and they give up. They start becoming really wavy, or they don't produce a nice smooth blend. It just becomes kind of wavy, and I'll show you how you can fix that. I'm going to show you on my pasta machine that I'm not using right now, but let me pull this up so you guys can see this. I have a few people who are new and who are still getting used to their pasta machines. Now, when you are working with something that you're about to cut and you want all of these colors in that cut, you're going to have to make sure that this blend is that skinny. So what you're going to do is when you put this through your pasta machine, grab yourself, if you don't have anything to put in your rollers that is made for that, you can just use a couple of pieces of clay, put them side by side, or just, you can also just slide it over just like this and hold it. And this will make sure that your blend shrinks down to that. So what I'm going to show you, when this goes through the pasta machine, I'm going to keep sliding this over until I get it to be about 1.5 inches, so that I can cut several umbrellas out of one strip. So I'm going to go make this a little bit skinnier so that it's 1.5 inches, so I can get a bunch of umbrellas out of this one sheet. All right, so here's my strip. This one's set out to a thickness of 4. And this is the translucent that was giving me a little bit of issues. So I think what I'm going to do with this translucent is I'm going to put it on a sheet of paper, just because it's very thin and wants to stick to everything. And this table does not take kindly to things sticking to it and remaining in a nice condition. All right, so first thing we're going to do is you're going to figure out, are you going to stamp your umbrellas or are you going to silk screen your umbrellas? Figure that out before you go and make your first cut. And if you use 1 bar of each color, you're going to get at least 2 pairs of earrings, probably 3, maybe 4, because if you're getting your, if your pasta machine is yielding a nice long strip like this, then you're going to get a nice good pair of earrings out of it. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then I just have a small piece of translucent set out to a thickness of 5 here, and I can get 2 pairs of earrings out of that. So this really makes it quite easy and helpful. Whereas if you cut a circle, you're going to have to cut the little circles out. Now you can just cut the circle out and make it a curve, and people will still understand that it is an umbrella. So don't feel the need to go ahead and cut the little divots out, but it does help it make it look more cute. Okay, so the most difficult part, which screen do I wear? Let's see here. I think if you're trying to figure out if you're going to do silk screen and you're going to do a stamp and all that, and then what you're going to do, take your cutter and just make a couple little slight divots so that you know where your cutter is going to be. So my 2 cutter spots are right there. I'm going to lower you guys so you can see a little bit better. All right, take that out of the way. Okay, so I'm going to take my little stamp here, and I can see exactly where this line starts, so I don't have to waste a whole strip by stamping a big old block. I'm just going to stamp this right there on that edge. Now with this particular stamp, I find I have to walk my fingers centimeter by centimeter, because I don't want, I don't know what the technical term for this is, but I find ghosting. And what I mean by ghosting is 2 imprints as opposed to just the solid one. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep my finger right here, and I'm just going to kind of peek here at the corners to see how well it's absorbed. And I think it's absorbed it beautifully. Ta-da! I love this stamp. Oh my God, it's so pretty. Okay, so now I have my imprint for that umbrella. Now I'm going to go over here and I'm going to do some silk screening. Now, I'm going to work on this translucent piece after we're done with this piece right here. So I don't want to do 2 silk screens. I'm just going to do the 1. And again, I'm just going to take and lightly make a little divot so I know exactly where I'm going to put my silk screen at and how much it will cover. Because honestly, I don't want to use the whole silk screen because I don't want to use that part of it. So I'm going to put my white paper right here just so I know where this starts. I'm going to put my silk screen right at the edge of that where the line is right here, so that I know where my umbrella is over here. And I'm going to go right here, and then I'm going to stick it down right in that spot. Actually, I did it backwards, sorry. It's the shiny side. I don't know if you guys can see that in this lighting, but it's the shiny side that goes down and the dull side that stays up, I believe. So if I remember how to do this right. Okay. Okay. And make sure you have a bowl of water for this, so that when you take this off, that you have something to place the silk screen in, so that you don't mess up the silk screen by leaving the paint in there to dry. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with this cute little pink. And you won't need too much. Now you can use credit card or gift card or business card. I like using our old Six Flags cards because they're really bendy. So I get that nice curve when I scrape it across the screen. So I'm just going to pick up the paint right here on the tip, not on the other side. And I'm just going to start from the paper side and I'm going to scrape it across here. And then I'm going to go to the other side and I like to go in all the directions just to make sure I've gotten it in every little nook and cranny. So now I'm going to pick this up, slowly peeling this back. There we go. And I'm going to put that in my bowl of water. Now this has to dry. There. And there. Now if you guys are wondering why there's a little bit of rainbow on my table, I have a sticker on my window that it's a rainbow sticker. So certain times a year it just comes through. Now these ones I'm going to do completely different. This time what I'm going to do with these is I'm actually going to use a mold. Actually not a mold, but a cane. Okay, brain, work with me here. So I have this cute little cane and it's actually perfect size for the top of my umbrellas. But not so great for the sides of my umbrellas because that flower is awfully big actually. So I'm going to go ahead and cut 2 slices for the top of the umbrella. Whoops. And then I'm going to shrink this down to probably about the size of my pinky nail. So I'm just shrinking that cane. Now you can do this with absolutely any cane you want. Okay, so this is dry now. Actually help me line up the screen too. Let's see here. Right there. I'm going to go ahead and use white over the top of this. Drum roll, please. Perfection. Oh, it's so pretty. I can't believe I did that right the first time around. It's almost perfectly lined up. Now, this needs to dry. This needs to be burnished, and I have one more set of earrings. I'm not going to waste this nice little strip that I have waiting for me over here. Okay, so now I'm going to put my little indentations over here, and another one right here. And I'm going to pull out my one of my little molds. Okay, so here's my little flower mold. It's probably the cheapest mold I've ever spent money on, but it's also my absolute favoriteest mold. And you just pick whatever clay that you want to go in that mold. I'm going to use a little bit of Primo white. Pull my flowers off here because remember I did not want to make these stick yet. I was just counting them, making sure I have enough. Ah! Throw those up there. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start cutting my umbrellas out. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle while you work. Okay, now this one here, I'm not going to cut that out yet. So I'm just going to cut that out and this. And I'm going to separate this very carefully. Do not put too much pressure on your umbrellas because you don't want them to bunch up and you don't want to ruin that beautiful. And this one bunched up just a little, so I'm just going to give it a little tug. There we go. So pretty. All right, now if I can just get these off nice and gently because I don't want to ruin that silk screen that's on there. All right, put my scraps away. Now for this one over here, when you put your little bits on there from your cane, now what you're going to do is you're going to take a piece of paper, just regular copying paper, nothing special, and just burnish those onto there. Now if you want a 3D look, burnish a little. If you want it to be completely flat, burnish a lot. But Either way, when you're burnishing, you don't want a lot of pressure because you don't want your clay to just spread out. You want the roses to blend into your slab. And that's kind of why I like to use my finger, because I can feel the roses or the cane underneath this. All right. There we go. Now I'm going to take my cutter and line it up with the roses, just like it was before. Go ahead and make my first cut. Give it a little wiggle. Line up all my other roses here. Now sometimes I have to get right over the top, so if I bump you guys, sorry. There we go. And now I'm just going to peel away the edges. There we go. All right, so now for that last one over here on the side, I'm going to pull this a little bit closer for you guys to kind of see what I'm doing here. Okay, I've got all my little flowers here, and bring this up a little bit higher. All right, so I'm going to find again my big flowers, and I'm going to set those right in the middle. All right, so now I have my second flower for the middle. And I'm just kind of eyeballing this. And I'm going to go ahead and make my cut. Kind of looks like a cake. Right now I want cake. Okay, I'm going to take this piece out and put it to the side. And now I'm going to start placing my little flowers. Now, if you plan on hanging like crystals or anything from the umbrella itself, which I have done. Okay, so I have these crystals, and they're teardrop shaped crystals. And you can actually drill a hole in each little corner or every other one, whichever you want. I actually do every other one because it gets the point across. And then I hang these little teardrop crystals from the umbrella, or you can hang a teardrop from the bottom. But I'm not going to hang any teardrops from these, so I'm just going to go ahead and start putting my flowers on here. I had to make another one. Okay, so now that I have my cute little flowers all into place, you guys know how I do it. I have to make sparkles. So I made a mess of all my beads earlier, so I have to find some of my gems here. These are 2mm crystals that I'm using. Okay, so I'm going to take my little crystals and I'm going to put them spot in the middle of my teeny little flowers. And I think that's why I like these flowers so much, is because they fit my little 2mm crystals here absolutely perfectly. And I'm just kind of placing them first. I'm pushing them in, yes, a little bit, but I'm going to go and push them in the rest of the way after I'm done getting them all into place, because that's just the fastest way to do this. Tools. Now I'm going to take my handy dandy little knitting needle tool. I'm going to just push those in there a little bit further because I don't want them coming out. Handy little tip, if they do happen to fall out on you, just take some gel Loctite glue or any type of super glue really, and don't put it directly onto the piece. What I personally like to do, so that I don't put too much glue into the area, because sometimes if you add a lot of glue, it'll make your gem foggy, because the glue will actually get onto the sparkly glass and make it hazy and kind of etched. So what I usually do is I will take a bit of the glue, I'll put it on a piece of paper, and then I'll take a toothpick and I'll dab the toothpick tip into the glue and then into that spot and then put the gem in it. That way I don't have to worry about the glue overpowering the edges of my pretty little masterpiece here. Okay, so from here, I'm going to take these and I'm going to go ahead and load them up. So I have my chocolate mold here. Now for this one right here, since I have these cute little roses, or not roses, little flowers in the middle, I'm going to go ahead and add a spot for my drill to make this a little bit bigger, because you want your pin head to be able to go through that. So I'm going to take that little piece right there, and as best I can, I'm going to aim for the middle, and I'm going to let that just settle into the mold. Now you can use, if you have finger cots, if you don't want your fingerprints on this, you can use finger cots, you can use little plastic finger covers. I can't remember where exactly I put mine, so I'm going to just use this, it's just a sponge texture tool, and I'm going to lightly push till this is all the way in, and I'm lightly pushing this, guys, because I don't want to mess up my cute little molds here. And I'm going to make sure everything's down in the middle, and I'm going to do the same thing to the next one. And again, I'm going to put this as best in the middle as I can. And yes, I have gotten it wrong to where it's not quite in the middle. It doesn't really make that big of a difference. Still going to work for you. So those are in there. Just make yourself some snakes. And what you're going to do, the first thing I do is I don't know what size I'm going to need. So I'll put the spine on here, stick it to that edge a little bit, and have it go all the way across. And then I'll take my razor blade and I'll cut it on the other side. And then I'll just make that side thin too. There's a little bit of purple on there. I didn't want it. And now I'm going to, don't want to do that. Cut that little noodle in half as best you can eyeball it. And then just check it again. Yep, it fits. Now you have a noodle to compare all your little noodles. All my little noodles in a circle here. And I'm just going to take a little nub. Actually, I'm going to take a purple nub. Purple nub. Honestly, if I thought about this beforehand, I would have taken that cut of flour there, and I would have placed it right on the top. But I'm going to take this little ball, and I'm going to stick it right there in the middle of all those spines, just like that. And then I will take that, just like this, and I'll put that directly into my mold. And I'll just take my little sponge there, make sure it's down all the way, and put that off to the side, and do the same thing with this one. And this one's pretty much ready to go. I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to add spines to this, but I might add some of these cute little flowers to kind of finish it off a little bit. But the stamped one, I'm going to go ahead and put that one in here. There we go. Put the other one next. Oh, bead. Bead does not want to go away. All right. And then I will do the same thing to this and these two, and I'm planning on making many, many more. So let's just pretend these are all done now. If you don't have a hand drill, go ahead and add your hole before you add it to your chocolate mold, because it's going to be hard to add a hole in there if you don't have a drill. If you do have a drill, then you just go ahead and try and figure out as best you can where the middle of that piece is, and just start drilling your hole. It's a little hard to do this. Now, these hand drills are really cheap. You can find them on Amazon. I have purchased probably 5 of these just to have them around the house, because they're super handy when I'm doing jewelry not at my desk. They're portable, so I can do jewelry on the go. and just add your holes to your umbrellas. So what I'm going to do is I have to figure out what colors do I want to use, what kind of beads do I want to use. I'm going to go with what I was using earlier, which is these cute little sparkly kind of rainbowy gray bead to kind of tie in that gray. And then I'm going to use the white beads and the red beads, tiny red beads. Actually, I just purchased some red beads today that are even tinier than these because I happen to not have any. Okay, so what I usually do is I usually do 1, 2, 3 of my tiny little beads here, and then one large bead or semi-large bead. And then I'll do 3 more. 1, 2, 3, and then a large bead. And large bead as in this bead is probably 5, 7 millimeter maybe. Probably 5. It's not too big. You don't want to use really huge beads because for one thing it adds to the weight of the earring, and the second of all is you don't want your handle to be the main event. You want your umbrella to be the main event. So you just want a handle that accents and ties in your colors. And you got to decide how long you want it. That's nice right there. That's a nice size. Let's see, do I have my measuring tool to show you guys just how long that is? Okay, so far from the top of my umbrella to the bottom, this is 1.5 inches. And the ones that I'm wearing are from the very top, well, the bottom of where the hook starts to the bottom is 2.5 inches for this one. So I'm going to make this one a little bit smaller than I made the ones that I'm wearing. And so the top, I'm going to use one large flat crystal, kind of top it off. You can use green if you want. Then you take this. Actually, I think I'm going to put one more white crystal to just top that off. I think that looks cute. Then you just take this and you bend it sideways. Take your cutter, figure out how much you're going to need to make a little loop, and take your needle nose and use the largest part down there and grab it right there and wrap it around. And then if it's too big at the bottom, just go a little bit higher at the tip of the nose and then bring that in. Now, like I said, this wire that I'm using is really malleable, so it's not giving me a nice perfect round loop, but it'll do. And there we go. Now all it needs. All right, so now I'm going to get my pliers, and I'm going to also use my little needle nose. My husband was nice enough to get me a nice new set for Mother's Day. And what you do is you just take that little loop and open it up to the side. You bend it to the side, not pull it. Add your little loop, bend it back into place, and voila, you have a cute little umbrella earring. And like I said, if you want to go larger, you can make this a sun catcher and use the larger cutter, which is 3 inches, so it makes a nice size. But anyway, that's pretty much it right there. After they come out of the oven, if the hole is already there, you just take your finding or your pinhead, add your beads, and then add your earring finding. It's that simple. And it's super durable. Everybody's going to be able to tell that that's an umbrella. And at the same time, you just carry around your business cards and you give them a business card. Every time somebody compliments your earrings, you give them a card and tell them, I can make you a pair. And it works too, because there's a lot of people that really think that these umbrellas are super, super cute. So they usually want them. So I hope it brings you guys business. I hope you make lots of umbrellas. I hope you have had a wonderful time here and a moment to art. This is Jen Sewell signing off, and I hope you guys have a lovely day and make some umbrellas. Have a great one, guys. Bye.